I came to a mind-blowing realization last night while I was on the phone with one of my best friends. We were chatting about how we are both in a phase of life where it's really difficult to establish a regular exercise routine. We've both been super frustrated with this because we love to exercise in the way that it makes us feel. We feel better when we do. But there's a lot of body image issues and diet culture issues that we're both tackling on top of challenging seasons of life that just make the exercise thing really hard. So mid-conversation, she said something that was just so relatable. When you start back up that routine, she said, it just sucks because your endurance sucks. It takes a while to get used to it all because hopping back on that horse is just so challenging when you've fallen off the wagon for so long. And I said, yep, I feel the same way. But then I paused because all of a sudden it hit me. And I said, but maybe that's not the issue because we do hard stuff every single day. Every day we challenge our endurance in some way, whether it's with something that we haven't done in a while that we're restarting or doing something completely new we've never done before, or something that we've been doing for a while. The point is, every day we're challenging our endurance in some way and we figure it out. So what if it's not the physical challenge that makes getting started with exercise so hard? And she said, Hillary, why are you being so loud? But seriously, let's think about this. If the physical challenge was really the root issue, then wouldn't we reach a point where exercising wasn't challenging at all? Once we got over some hump in our fitness level, wouldn't it all of a sudden become easy? But exercise that's true exercise is always challenging, always changing. There's never a moment, even in our strongest states, where true exercise isn't hard. That's kind of the whole point. So it's not the physical challenge that's the issue that never goes away. I think it's our mindset. This idea that after you've fallen off the wagon, so to speak, that you have to claw your way back up every time from the very bottom. It's this idea that every time we start over, we don't start with anything that could benefit us. It's a defeating mindset, one that fails to recognize any strength or further wisdom that we bring in our current state. It sets us up to catastrophize the challenge in front of us. We focus more on what we lack rather than the opportunity to do something that is so good for us and to push toward what we hope to achieve. We begin focusing on hating and regretting what happened yesterday or the day before, 3 years before, as well as the potential perceived failures of tomorrow. How many of us make a plan to work out on a Monday only to have Monday hit us hard? We miss the workout, and rather than just accepting that Monday was hard and choosing to just find time the next day, we feel defeated. And then we make a choice to just start fresh next week, not out of laziness, but out of this belief that we've missed some imaginary fresh start train, one that somehow only comes at the start of a new week. It's also a false belief that if we've failed once, we will fail again, and that somehow defines us. In focusing so much on the past and the future, we ignore the present, and we begin to believe a lie that somehow our efforts today aren't enough and aren't worth it. We place ourselves in a mindset of defeat and refuse to simply do something today, for the benefits recognized in that moment. Think of the old saying, it's like riding a bike. Most of us learned how to ride a bike when we were younger, but we don't dread having to relearn the skill even if it's been years since we hopped back in the saddle. We don't tell ourselves we've fallen off the wagon even if it's been years since we tried. We just do it. Why? Because when we learned the first time, we did it for fun. When we hop back on the bike, we allow what we call muscle memory to do most of the work. Did you know that when you first start an exercise routine, the rapid progress you see in the first several weeks is actually due to neuromuscular gains and not strength gains? This means that in the early stages of training, it's the brain that sees the most rapid progress. The brain is learning how to adapt to the demands that are placed on the body, and it quickly learns what it needs to do in order to meet those demands. It learns to recruit more muscle fibers, to recruit the correct muscle fibers, and to recruit them in the proper order. So imagine if in those early stages we told ourselves a narrative of strength rather than one of defeat. What if we chose to do something, whether it's a new workout routine or anything else, not because we hate where we currently are, but because we love ourselves enough to do what we need most in the moment? What if we stopped seeing our past failures as a sign of some inevitable future failure, and instead saw them as evidence that we tried once and we can try again? What if hopping back on the wagon wasn't hopping back on the wagon, and was instead us choosing to move our bodies in a way that helps us, makes sense to us, and that brings us joy? You have the capacity to do hard things, so consider the possibility that it's not merely the physical challenge that's stopping you. It may be your fear of failure and the belief that the odds are stacked too heavily against you before you even give yourself the chance to try.